Our topic is finding the distance using absolute value. Essential question, what are 3 ways to find the distance between 2 points? So these notes will cover 3 different ways to find the distance between points. The reason I have 3 different ways is because I'm hoping that you can pick one of the 3 ways that I show you and use that when you are trying to find distance between points. Okay? So I want you to remember that distance or length will always be a positive value. So find the distance between the 2 given points. Show 3 ways. So the first question wants us to find the distance between the number -5 and -1. So one of those ways that you can do this would be to use a number line. So one of the ways, make sure you write your numbers down correctly on the number line. Okay, and we want the distance between -5 and -1. So here's -5 and here's -1, and you can just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4 units. Okay, another way is a new way that I'm going to show you, and really what you do is you write down both numbers, okay, and then you're going to subtract. So you wrote down -5 and -1, you're going to subtract them, and since distance and length is always a positive value, you're going to put the absolute value on that solution to this. So when you're solving this out, this is -5 minus a -1, you're subtracting a negative, so you're really adding, so it's -5 basically plus 1, which is -4, and you're finding the absolute value of that. The absolute value of -4 is 4, so your distance between -5 and -1 is positive 4 units. Okay? And the third way you can do it, it doesn't matter the order that you write down the numbers. So you can write down that -1 first, and that -5, and it's really similar to the second way, where you write them down and you subtract them. But again, since you're finding distance, it's going to be a positive value. So you are going to find the absolute value of this right here, -1 minus a -5, which it's really, when you think about subtracting a negative, it's adding. -1 plus 5, which is positive 4, so you're finding the absolute value of 4, which gives you 4 units. Okay. Now, number 2, find the distance between -3 and 2. You can use a number line. Okay, and then just count the distance between them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. Or you can use the new way that I just showed you, and sometimes you'll find that the new ways that I've shown you might be easier depending on what numbers are selected. I provide you here. So if I give you numbers that are very spread apart, it might be kind of more challenging to write them on a number line. So that's why it's really good to know these other ways, okay? So let me show you again. You just write down both of the numbers, -3 and 2, just like you see them, and then you're going to subtract them. And make sure to put the absolute value on there because your answer is going to be a positive distance. So -3 minus 2 is going to be a -5. And you want to find the absolute value of -5, and that is 5. Okay, so you have the exact same answer, 5 units. Okay, and again, that order doesn't matter because you're just finding the distance between them. So you're allowed to write the 2 first, and then that -3. Don't forget to subtract them and add the absolute value, okay? So 2 minus a -3 is 5, so you find the absolute value of 5, which is 5. Number 3, find the distance between 4 and -1. So write your number line down correctly. -1 is further to the left, 4 is further to the right. Okay, the distance between them, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. Okay. You can now write down their numbers. Do the second way, 4 and -1, and subtract them and absolute value it. Okay, 4 minus a -1 is a positive 5, so you can find the absolute value of 5, which is 5. You can rewrite their order. You can write the -1 first and then the 4 second, and then remember to subtract them and absolute value it. Okay. So -1 minus 4 is -5, and you find the absolute value of -5, which is 5. Your summary says that distance or length will always be a positive value. How come? Explain why this makes sense. So explain why distance and length will always be a positive value. The distance between -8 and -5, you can write those numbers on the number line. Okay, between -8 and -5, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 units. And again, you can write those numbers down. And remember to subtract them and add the absolute value right there. So this is going to be -8 minus a -5, which is going to be the absolute value of -3. The absolute value of -3 is 3. And again, the order doesn't matter. You can write the -5 first and then that -8. Write them both down, subtract them, and then add your absolute value sign. So -5 subtract a -8 is going to give you a +3. So you're finding the absolute value of 3, which is 3. Okay, the distance between 5 and 9, you can use a number line. Okay, and then just count the units between 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 units. You can write down both numbers, subtract them, and then add the absolute value sign. So 5 subtract 9 is -4, so you're finding the absolute value of -4, which is 4. You can write the 9 first, and then the 5. Then subtract them, and then put your absolute value sign. So 9 minus 5 is 4. Absolute value of 4 is 4. 3 different ways to get the exact same answer. Okay, this is something similar to what you'll probably be seeing on an assessment, this format. Check all equations that show the distance between 20 and -18. So what I would do before looking at all the possible answers right here is I would just do it on your own and then check which boxes give you that answer, okay? So you could do this method, or this method. Since these numbers seem to be spread apart, I don't really want to draw a number line. So I'm going to use this method or that method, where I would go write down both numbers, 20 and -18, then subtract them, and then find the absolute value of it. 20 subtract a -18 is a +38. So the absolute value of 38 is 38. So here I'm going to go select which numbers equal 38. 20 plus a -18, well, that's not it. That's going to be 2, so that's not an answer. That's not the distance of 38. -18 plus 20, well, that's going to be a +2, so that's not the answer. The absolute value of 20 minus 18, which would be the absolute value of 2, that's 2, that's not the answer because I'm looking for 38. Here, 20 minus a -18. This is the absolute value of 20 minus a -18. So it'd be absolute value of 38, which is 38. Yep, that's one answer. And there could be more than one answer to this. Look at the boxes. Check all equations that show the distance between 20 and -18. Okay, -18 minus 20, the absolute value of that would be, okay, inside there is -38. The absolute value of -38 is 38. So this is an option. That's correct. Absolute value of 20 is 20, plus the absolute value of -18 is 18. 20 plus 18 is 38. That is an answer. Okay. Check all equations that show the distance between -6 and 20 and -24. Again, I'm going to find my answer the way I select, and then I'm going to check the boxes that correspond to that and match that correct answer. I'm not going to draw a number line. I'm going to use the second or the third method. So I'm going to write down -6 and then -24, and I know that if I subtract them and then take the absolute value of it, that's going to give me the solution. So -6 minus a -24, that's going to give me, think about it, that's going to be plus -6 plus 24, that's 18. So the absolute value of 18 is 18. So the distance between this -6 and -24 is a +18. So let's go ahead and select the boxes that give me an answer of 18. Absolute value of -24 is 24. Absolute value of -6 is 6. 24 plus 6 is not 18, so that's not an option. -6 plus 24 is 18, so the absolute value of 18 is 18. That is an answer. -6 plus a -24 is -30, and that's not going to be a correct answer, so I'm not going to check the box. These ones are a little bit, require a little bit more thinking, so make sure you think about it. -6 minus a -24, I'm going to look at that as plus, so -6 plus 24 is 18. Absolute value of 18 is 18, so this is a correct answer. absolute value of negative 6 is 6, plus the absolute value of negative 24 is positive 24. 6 plus 24 is not 18, so that is not an answer because that's 30. Absolute value of negative 24 minus the negative 6, so negative 24 plus 6, that is going to be that's going to be negative 18. So the absolute value of negative 18 is 18, and that's one of our answers. Okay. For your summary, I want you to tell me the distance between 5 and 10, and please tell me the distance between negative 6 and 7. How many units are between them on a number line?